Hi all, welcome to Hummy's World Blending Mode class, where we are working from the top to the bottom in the blending modes, looking at each one. I'm giving you a texture that I created, and everybody's using the same texture and the same blending mode and sharing our results, what we can get with it to learn more about the blending mode. So these are in order, and if you arrived here out of order, go back to the beginning, go to hummysworld.com, find the blending mode guide in the classes, and start at the beginning. But if you're ready for this lesson, if you've done all the others before this, let's get at it. So the hard mix. If any of you have played with the blending modes, you get to the hard mix and you go, ew, what in the world do we do with that? Well, I have seen some, tutorials and things out there that give some really like artsy, psychedelic kind of line art, blobs of color. You're going to see why blobs of color here in a minute. And it's all in the eye of the beholder. And they aren't artsy, and I can see art in them, but they don't make me feel good. Art should make me feel good, not evoke senselessness. Not senselessness, evoke a confusion. I mean, unless the artist is trying to evoke confusion, and that's what I get, then the artist did a good job, but I don't like those kinds of art. Anyway, hard mix. And as we've said a zillion times, it's all about the math. So here's the math, very basic, broken down math. The luminosity of the top layer is blended with the hue of the bottom layer. Now, we can kind of go all the way back to course 1 at Hummy's World. And you will remember when we do the color picker, go back and do that lesson in course 1 on the color picker and the I forgot what the lesson's called. But you will remember when we do this color picker that the saturation goes from left to right, and the lightness and brightness comes from bottom to top. Well, the lightness and the brightness coming from bottom to top or top to bottom, however you want to go, is going to be the easiest explanation to show you what luminosity is. And so it's going to look at the luminosity, or how bright or how dark the top layer is, and it's going to blend it with the hue of the bottom layer. Now, to find the hue in the color picker, a hue is a word that can be interchanged with the word color. So if you're talking about the hue of something, you're also talking about the color of something, and that's this rainbow over here on our color picker. And so it's going to blend the luminosity of the top layer with the hue of the bottom layer. Now, go figure what that means. Well, let's go look. I mean, really, I don't even really know what it means after I look at it. I think most people don't, but it'll kind of give you a better understanding. Here's the graphic we've been using with all classes, and we go to hard mix and we go, what is that? Bright light, bright green, and a little bit of blue. Why do we have that little bit of blue in there? Really? And oh, look at it. It's all pixelated. It doesn't even transition smooth. What in the world are we going to do with that? Because we start out with this pleasant, well-muted green color in the background, and we get this lemon lime saturated bright light, hello, here I am, you can go color. So I don't really want to go with this blending mode, but wait till you see my sample of what I managed to do with it. and it's all about constraint. But you can see the black on the dark side, it did like absolutely nothing over here, and the white side, it made it all white, and the black side, it made it all black, and then in the middle, in the 50% gray area of the luminosity, the 50% right in here in the middle, you can see I'm at 58 right now, not quite 50% gray, a little bit more, but right here in the middle, if your colors are right here in the middle somewhere, it's gonna do something freaky and pull the colors from the bottom and make colors on the top, and yeah. So here we go. You want to see from freaky freaking you out to my sample of beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? I got hard mix in there. Ha! I love it. I think it turned out great. Now, how did I do it? Well, now we're going to be deconstructing. Okay. Here is my original image. Now, I pulled in about 3 other images, and every time I took any of my textures and blended it, I got this horrible looking yellow. I had lots of, I guess I take flowers and greenery and things like that. And it turned it, I yawned, sorry. I've been working too long today. It's getting late. I didn't mean to yawn at you, and it is contagious, so don't start yawning. Okay, so I said to myself, well, I'm not having any success with these things with color, and I know that the top layer is blending with the bottom layer, and the bottom layer has color, and so what if I take out all the color? What am I going to get? So I went looking for an image without color, and I was at a museum, and they had this mannequin with this old outfit on, and I said, oh, that's a cool texture, and I just snapped a picture of it. I'm snapping pictures of everything all the time. I know when you get to do digital scrapbooking and photography and playing with blending modes like this, you snap pictures of everything. And your family has to be patient. Okay, I love my family when they're patient and because then I make lovely things like this. So I have this image, and let's go look and get our original image. This is the texture I'm going to be giving you, and you can see it's got a ton of sequins on it. My hubby did this. Actually, these sequins are all different colors on the original texture I scanned in, and then I turned it over on my scanner, and they all fell out all over my scanner. Then I had to clean them all up. But it did make for a really cool kind of texture because when I got to, editing my textures, I always scan them in and then I play with them in Photoshop. I was able to bring out this mostly white with this, yummy bits of gold. I always tell my husband, you're making the ugliest things, but don't worry, just start putting junk on the textures. And he runs down in the basement and pulls up stuff, and he makes the ugliest looking things. And I said, don't worry, I can make them pretty. I can make them work. And look, isn't this an example? And you can see he started out with just a piece of material in the background. We thought that was going to be really cool. And look at all the little fringes coming out. And then he started putting sequins all over it. And then there was paint. And then, I don't even want to show you the original. But this looks great. So now I've got to change that to the, here we go. Don't be scared, just do it. Hard mix. Well, that's not bad. It doesn't show through too much because, both layers are mostly white. So if you're wanting to go subtle, I thought to myself, you gotta get a lot of white. And so it took all that gold stuff, like here's one of the sequins with its gold you can see. And that's all you can see. Most of this is white, but that's not going to help me. This is still kind of ugly. So I started lowering the opacity, and I said, look at that. I lower the opacity, and then just the grungy gold parts show through. And now it's kind of cool. You know, I mean, when you zoom in and see the individual pixels, it's not. But zoomed out, you look at it and you think, okay, so the white on the white, they were both similar luminosities. And when I lower the opacity, the white just kind of disappears from the top layer, and we're left with just the little grungy color from the top layer. So I thought that works. And what I did next was I said, well, hey, I want more of that grungy stuff. So I hit Control J to duplicate it, and it's already duplicating with the same hard mix. But then I lost my material. It got too white. So this upper layer, I had to kind of lower the opacity again. And then I did a Edit Transform, and you do this a little different in Photoshop Elements, but I think it's under the image drop down menu. But we're going to go, and it may be under Edit, I can't remember now, and I just rotated it 90 degrees, and now I've got some of those lines that are going sideways here going up and down, and it just added some nice cool stuff to it. Let me go back to, I'm going to delete the one I'm working on. And let's see, I had this layer down to 28% in my original. And then I, of course, added my text. Now, my text I kept normal, but I had to play with it for a while. You just highlight all your text and then click around, and that's blending, because it's still blending because it's below my two layers here, so it's still blending with that. Even though I couldn't put this layer itself in hard mix, it's still getting that hard mix blend from above. And you can see I could go down here and get really dark, and I just kept clicking around. Up here you can't see the white text. Over here, I think what I did was to grab one of these colors over here. But anyway, I just kept clicking around until I came up with this that worked well. And you can see it's blending it in, but yet you can still see and read the text. Okay, and then I said, well, I need something else. This is good, but it's not like it's got to be tied together. We have a grounding lesson in course 1 and it's not grounding. My text is just floating. We got to do something. And so I went and I got my custom shape tool, and I found the heart shape, and I made a heart, and I played with it, but let's just go look at the one I made. And I made it subtle into the background, so I ended up lowering it all the way to 28%. See, that's just too harsh. I lowered it all the way. I was down to 28%, which I just played with it. And when I did that, you see there's still the grungy stuff coming through the heart. And then I added a drop shadow. Here's before drop shadow, after drop shadow, and I just played with the drop shadow, and I wanted something subtle because I was going after kind of the contrast in the text, being you can't treat people horribly, all these grungy marks marring up my beautiful white material, and then there we go. Okay, I have to go back and resave my image. and then expect them to love you. And so I kind of was doing the contrast about, soft, beautiful love being marred with all these uh, lines. I thought that was the art I was invoking. So I don't really like how that is so red right there. Can I move my text up? And yeah, and then I got to move my heart up. There. Kind of was too red on the end, but I moved it from the part it was blending from just slightly, and that helped. Okay, so that's what, and then I was like, okay, well, this is looking good, and we're still just floating. We need to do something else. And I'm putting the frames on everything I do, but what can I do that's a little bit different? What can I show these people? We're doing the same thing. I need to think outside the box. So I got my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm in the new selection, and I went all the way to the outer. Whoops, I got to get my setting back. My feather has to be at 0. You'll see why it was up in a minute. So I got a selection all the way out to the middle, and then I chose the intersect, which is this is the same thing that we did in the last one. I'm only applying it a little different than the last video. And then I raised my feather all the way up. I don't remember what it was at. And I grabbed that here and drew, and now this is all feathered. So I created a new layer and did Alt click, because my foreground color that's almost 50% gray. It's a little bit darker. Control D to deselect, and now you see this is kind of a blended edge. I'll pull that on out. And I said, well, I have to use the hard mix. And so I changed it to hard mix, and I said, ooh, that worked. And let's go ahead and ditch this one and go back to my original. And it looks like then I went ahead and lowered the opacity. I have it at 58% because that's a little too stark. So I just lowered it until it felt pretty. I think that feels pretty. So then there was before and after, and all this stuff is still showing up. There's sequence there. Still showing up on the edges, but yet it kind of just subtly brought it together. And I thought, there we go. That works. So you can see how I did take that texture and I did work with it to make it still something pretty and still trying to be art. Art is supposed to say something to people. And so I have a message with my art, with the grungy. But you can take this and do whatever you want. You may find it works with a ocean picture a certain way, water, or, you have to play with you can. I first went after a picture with a flower that was white, thinking that and it kind of did. It kept the flower all white, and then made the greenery area funky, but it was yellow and kind of funky. And sometimes for the hard mix, if you take something that has like a solid color background and then an object in the middle, so go lay out like a white tablecloth or piece of material, and then put an object on it like an apple or whatever you're taking a picture of, a vase or something, and put that on there, and so you have mostly all white. My doggies hear something. Probably the neighbors are coming home. So it's all white, and then when you apply these, then you can kind of get a line art when you play. But Yeah, a solid color background with an object would also work. That's kind of more the key in working with this stuff, not because you're not mixing too many colors. Think minimalistic, and then you're going to get something a little bit more uh, to point that with something with that you can work with. I'll put it kind of period. Anyway, or you could just get something white like mine and do the exact same thing I did. I don't care, but I can't wait to see what you do with it and have fun. And maybe you're going to come up with something totally different. Maybe you're going to have it on black. I wonder what it does with black. Oh, I want to show you before I was ending. Let me take this and go ahead and get, well, it don't matter. I can use that and Control U, and I'm going to colorize this. And look, I'm going to raise up my saturation, and look what it does. And so as I'm changing the colors, it does do more than just the yellow. Here we are in the greens, and you see we've got greens and yellows. And now we're moving into the blues and so forth. So, you know, you can I'm changing the color of the texture layer itself. And you see if I make it really bright, I get less and less. And if I make it darker, I get more and more. And so this can be played with. I mean, here's kind of cool. I'm lowering the saturation and I'm getting different colors. Depends on all what you're going for. Higher the, look at that. The higher the saturation, the lower the darkness, and this is what I get. I still got the stuff in there. I mean, that's kind of grungy cool. I was playing with that earlier. But that, of course, is changing the texture itself. What I would do rather than that, if you do want to do that, do a new adjustment layer for hue and saturation. And I'm going to click colorize, and I want to hold down my Alt key, and right between these two I'm going to click on the line and group it so it's only with my texture. Of course you can use it and do it with any layer, but this is doing the same thing. Let's see what we do. We went really dark. Ooh, there we go. See, that's that line art, that grungy stuff that I was talking about, that you can get with this. And if you like that emotion that evokes, certainly in it. Look, I got that all by accident, and that's actually pretty cool. And that's what you mostly get when you're using the hard mix. You get these blotches of hard color everywhere, and that is very artistic. But I just don't feel it. I don't want to feel it. But maybe the artist wants me to feel it, but I really don't want to feel it. So I can't make myself make that and make other people feel it. Ha! Anyway, I can't wait to see what you do with it. So have fun, play, and remember to give us your recipe and take a screenshot of your layers palette and tell us what you did. Bye now.